Hi, welcome to Shalom, Ottawa. This is a new year, 2013. I hope everybody will have a prosperous and healthy new year. My name is Benita Simiatiki, and I'd like to welcome Evan Zelikovitz to our show, who will start it off. And Evan is the chair of a newly formed March of the Living Committee. And welcome, Evan.
Thank you very much.
Evan, first of all, what is your connection to the March of the Living?
So I was one of the chaperones that took 16 kids from Ottawa, one from Kingston, 15 from Ottawa, on the last march in April 2012 for 2 weeks, a week in Poland and a week in Israel. And, upon coming back from the trip, I just wanted to continue to stay involved. And I felt that my co-chaperone, Karen Paliu, we both felt that there was a need to have a more formal group to promote the March of the Living on a more regular basis, as opposed to 6 or 8 months before the trip was going, and to start to educate the community and reach out to the students across the community to talk about the program, explain to them what it was, and to combine that with some education about the Holocaust throughout the entire community.
Mm-hmm. And a committee had not existed before.
No,
correct?
there was no formal committee in the past. So we thought to bring together this group made up of educators and some of the schools across the community, community leaders, etc., who could come together and had an audience. They were involved with students across the community, and that they would be helpful in coming up with ideas and ways to reach out to the student body to talk about the March of the Living program and educate about it and get more people involved. Despite the fact that there's 15,000 plus people, Jewish people in Ottawa, the reality is we had 15 kids, which was a great group. Mm-hmm. There's no reason why we couldn't see 20 or 25 students going on the March of the Living on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. So we thought if we promoted it more and got more involved in Holocaust education and got the former participants who were on the trip to get more involved, that we could create some greater activity around the program and what it was all about and what it could do for the community, and that's why we put the committee together. Okay,
so did you outline what the goals are, or is there a mandate that you can actually, that is more formal than what you said?
Sure. So I mean, the main objective or goal or objective of the committee is to promote the March of the Living program. Mm-hmm. While a lot of people know about the March of the Living program, not enough people do know. So we thought that we would come up with some ideas to get into the schools and other forums to start to, number one, promote the program as much as possible. Secondly, the program is not cheap. It is approximately $5,500 to $6,000 to send a student on the trip. While there is subsidy from the various federations, so the Jewish Federation of Ottawa provides a subsidy to all the students, the reality is some students still can't afford the trip. So the other part of our mandate is to do fundraising. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to reach out to the community and see if we can collect funds that will help to defray some of the costs. And if we can do that, then we would hope that more students might become interested and their families might become interested in participating in the program.
Okay, I probably should ask you, for people who don't know, most do, but for people who don't, can you briefly explain what the March is?
Sure. So the March of the Living program is a 2-week journey that takes students from all across the world. Canada has a contingent that typically sends anywhere from 500 to 700 high school students, grades 9 through 12, to go on this trip. They're joined by students from all across the world. In 2012, there was about 10,000 students that went on this trip. They tour Poland for a week. They go to a number of concentration camps and to villages that were predominantly occupied by Jewish people As you know, in Europe, particularly in Poland, there was an extremely large, vibrant Jewish population prior to World War II. So we take the kids through those communities to the concentration camps. And the greatest part about the March of the Living program is that we're joined by survivors. So survivors come on the trip and they act as not our tour guides, but as our mentors in telling us about their times where they were in the concentration camps, where they had happy times in their communities and they were taken from them. And it really has an impact on the students when the survivors are with us. So it does a week in Poland, which is very heavy, but very fulfilling at the same time. And then there's a week in Israel where we go from, the depths of, what happened to the Jewish people during the Holocaust, and we go to Israel to celebrate what many of those people who died during the Holocaust did not get to experience, the creation of Israel. And it's really a time of celebration. So there's a march in Poland where we march from Auschwitz concentration camp to Birkenau. It's a 3-kilometer march where all 10,000 march in silence. But we do the same thing in Israel on Yom Ha'atzmaut, where 10,000 march proudly in song and in festivities to the Wailing Wall to experience something that's different.
So when is the next trip that Ottawa's participating in that the committee is working toward?
Right. So the next trip for Ottawa, they're part of a contingent called Coast to Coast, which is made up of all the Jewish communities across the country except for Montreal and Toronto. Montreal and Toronto sends a contingent every year. The next trip is April 2014. Okay. And following that, we're hopeful that the Coast to Coast group, meaning the communities across the country, will start to go every year. So we could have another trip in 2015.
Okay, so the committee has its work cut out for it if
we
it goes annually. Okay, we actually have to wrap up soon. I just want to quickly get to something else you're involved in on behalf of the March of the Living. You're part of a national initiative called the Digital Archive Project. In a few seconds, can you explain what that is?
Right, so I'm on the national board of the Canada-Israel Experience, which is responsible for Birthright and March of the Living, and as part of that, I am chairing a committee which is called the Digital Archive Holocaust Survivor Testimony Preservation Committee. We are mandated to start reaching out and collating the thousands of hours of Holocaust survivor testimony that we have that didn't take place in people's living rooms or in the cities where they live now. They are from the survivors who participated in the March of the Living and gave testimony in the concentration camps, in the very villages where they were taken from and their families were taken from. So it's very moving, and we're going to bring that all together. It's a long project. We're hopeful to get funding from the federal government. There's a Holocaust task force through citizenship and immigration. So we're hopeful that we can bring this all together over the next little while. To bring all this important testimony together.
Is there a target date when it would be ready for viewing, or it's too soon to know?
There's no target date. I mean, the hopeful objective is that a website or an online form is created that can bring together all of this survivor testimony. So the objective now is to collect it all, continue to video survivors who go on marches from now until whenever, and bring it all together into one educational form.
Okay, perfect. We have to leave you. Thanks so much for coming in today, and good luck with these initiatives.
Thank you.
Please stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. Hi, welcome back to Shalom, Ottawa. My guests now were involved in a unique project by the Jewish Federation of Ottawa, and it is called the Open Ottawa Microgrants Initiative. And I have Noah Shack, who is the chair of the selection committee, and Lindsay Silverberg, who is one of the recipients of a grant. Noah, we'll start with you. Can you explain what the Microgrants Initiative is?
Sure. It's an initiative of the Jewish Federation of Ottawa, part of the Emerging Generation Department. And it's geared towards extending the reach of the Federation into sectors of the community that otherwise haven't been touched in the same way as the traditional base. It's looking to involve the emerging generation, younger people, students, young professionals, in the Federation orbit by providing startup money for initiatives that they want to see happening in the community. The best way to get buy-in in the Federation is to have people's ideas manifest. And so this is a way to quickly give seed money to some of these great ideas from the emerging generation and to get people involved in Jewish communal life in Ottawa and with the Federation in particular.
Is there a particular age demographic that you're aiming at? Yeah,
the emerging generation is typically between 18 to 35, that sort of area. I think 18 to 35, 18 to 40, we're a little flexible.
You're flexible,
yeah.
Okay. Are you looking for any particular type of idea? Like, do they have to have some criteria attached to them?
Yeah, there are criteria. Everything is laid out very clearly on the website, and I'll give the plug. It's jfo.myreviewroom.com. Essentially, we're looking for things that will build community involvement, things that will bring people together, will create a sense of community, either whether it's through a shared social justice project, whether it's through a networking event, or some really neat, innovative idea that brings people together and fosters that sense of community here in Ottawa for this target demographic.
And how much money is available?
Up to $2,000 per grant, and so it depends on what the needs of the program are, how much would be available.
Right, and Lindsay, you were a proud recipient of one of those grants recently. Can you explain what your initiative was?
Okay, well, we did something called Bijou Affair, which was a mingle network soiree pre-session before people go out to come together and to meet people of the community and have some food, have some drinks. It was placed in a jewelry store on Spark Street, and because of the location, it was a creative idea, and it was just basically for people to meet, for all types of people to come together.
How many people did you draw?
Oh, I would say over 100 at least. Yeah.
And a lot of these were people who didn't necessarily know each other before.
Yeah, there were groups. There were people who were younger, people who were older, a lot of different kinds of people coming together, you know, just to meet and network, not necessarily knowing each other, or maybe knowing each other a little bit before.
What was your rationale for coming up with that idea, first of all, and then for applying for the grant?
Well, the idea stemmed from the fashion show that we had put on in September. We kind of just wanted to continue the idea. I mean, it's enough, you can go out with your friends and you can see the same people all the time, but what about bringing all different kinds of people together? What about, you know, rounding up a crew? And our actual first idea was to have one person be invited and have them invite a friend. So that way that if we miss somebody, they could invite their friend and we could reach out to everybody. The grant came to us from the JFO, and it was just an application process. We didn't expect to get as much money as we did, and it was just a great way to start things off. It gave us a lot of motivation because, of course, our budget was starting from a low point, and everything was done, you know, from handouts and volunteering, and it was just a great way to keep us going, keep us motivated.
And was there a fundraising aspect to it as well?
Yes, so we fundraised for the emerging generation the Jewish division, and basically all like a percentage of proceeds would go to the division, and we had silent auctions around the store, and those proceeds as well would go, some of those proceeds as well would go to the fundraising.
Do you know how much you raised?
We raised around $400.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Noah, so you were on the selection committee, which
That's right.
granted Lindsay her funds. What did you see in that proposal that appealed to the committee?
Well, this was a really neat idea. It was a non-traditional venue, an interesting way of bringing people together. You had groups of students, you had young professionals who otherwise wouldn't be mixing and mingling, and you brought them all together in one space to enjoy a really interesting event and to make connections. And that's what we're trying to do, is foster those connections, particularly with the involvement of the Federation in doing so and fostering that sense of community. It was a very impressive concept and a very impressive execution of it as well.
For how long will the micro grants be, that initiative be available?
So right now we're in a pilot phase. So this is the initial phase where we're seeing how well it works. We're working through the kinks, it's unclear exactly how long it will be going for. But I imagine it will continue to run as long as there are angel philanthropists interested in sustaining it. And so far, I think those people who have been supporting it have been pleased with the programs thus far. We've had, in addition to Lindsay's program, we had a Holocaust Week program that featured Erwin Kotler, and a Shabbat dinner that also brought people together who otherwise would never likely be in the same room, and create a Shabbat experience for all of them at Shopify. So it's been a good success, and I can tell you there's some really neat ideas coming through the pipeline as well.
And so people can apply just on an ongoing basis while the funds are available?
It's a rolling application. You just go to that website that I mentioned before, and they can apply. We've tried to make the application process as easy as possible so that nobody gets frustrated filling out forms, and we try and respond as quickly as possible so that ideas can get off the ground quickly. And it's not, I'd also like to add, it's not just about the money. Of course, that's a very important part of it. But in addition to that, these initiatives benefit from tremendous support from the JFO staff, from Samantha Banks, who heads up the Emerging Generation Division, and others who really, give a lot of effort and a lot of time and resources to make sure that these events are as successful as they can be.
Are your wheels turning, Lindsay, thinking about new projects to apply for?
After the success of our first project, we were ready. Well, we were ready after a little bit of vacation time to plan our next one, because it is a little stressful, but the outcome always outweighs everything else.
So Noah should expect to receive
yeah,
another application at some point.
The more the better. Yeah.
Do you have, how many have you received so far?
I think we've received about a half a dozen so far, and they come in fairly regularly, which is great. It's definitely, it's nice to see ideas coming through, and we really are happy to see any idea. I mean, we're not, this is supposed to be a flexible program.
Right.
So if anybody has an idea that they think would benefit Jewish communal life for this generation, this emerging generation that we're targeting, I'd encourage anybody to fill out a form and see what happens.
Okay, so we'll put the website up on the screen as well. And thank you, Noah and Lindsay, for coming in to explain the Open Ottawa Micro Grants program from the Jewish Federation of Ottawa.
Thanks for having us.
My pleasure. Our final segment today is looking at an event that's coming up next month, and it's called Mitzvah Day, put on by the Jewish Federation of Ottawa. Our guest is Rena Gershowitz, who is the Special Events Coordinator with the Jewish Federation of Ottawa and working very hard to pull it together. Hello, Rena.
Hi.
What is Mitzvah Day?
Mitzvah Day is a program put on by the Jewish Federation that really encourages people to come together to do good deeds. And we partner with a whole bunch of agencies throughout the city, and we just encourage people to come out and do good for a few hours. obviously we encourage people to do good whenever they can, but certainly on Mitzvah Day.
It's concentrated
Yes.
on that one day. When is it taking place this year?
It's going to be on February 10th, which is a Sunday.
Okay, and where?
The kickoff and the majority of the activities take place at the Soloway JCC. There are going to be activities taking place throughout the city, though.
Okay. How many organizations do you think are being supported?
I think just offhand we're going to be supporting between 10 and 15 organizations throughout the city.
Okay, can you give an example of
Sure.
some of them?
We are partnering with CHIO, with Elizabeth Bruyere, with Rogers House, with the Fairy Godmothers. We're partnering with a bunch of women's and children's shelters, the Ottawa Mission, the Ottawa Food Bank, Shepherds of Good Hope.
And this is not an event where you're just raising money and handing money to these organizations.
No.
This is, you're giving them tangible items.
Exactly. We're giving them tangible items, and in a lot of cases we're giving them time. So for instance, at the Shepherds of Good Hope, we're going to have a group of young adults from our Emerging Generation Division who are going to be on site there to prep, serve, and clean up a meal. And they're going to be, on site with the clientele.
Rena, how does the day unfold where you're, doing so many activities for so many organizations?
Well, we start everything off around 9 a.m. There's a breakfast, there's opening ceremonies. From there, everybody disperses. So people who are staying in the building to do their mitzvot are going to go to their rooms where they're going to be doing their activities. Some people who are doing off-site activities are going to be bused there, so they hop onto their buses. If you're off-site, there's really, you're doing your activity from about 10 till 12. If you're on-site, there's 2 shifts of activities, and everything wraps up at around noon.
Okay. How many people are you expecting to attract?
We attract ballpark 600 to 700, and this is kids who are participating. It's their parents who come participate with them. It's kids who come from supplementary schools. It's volunteers who come to help run the activities. It's a lot of people.
So it's quite a major event.
It is.
Can you explain some of the activities that will be taking place in the JCC?
Sure. So like I said, we're packing birthday celebration kits for kids who live in shelters so that they can, actually celebrate their birthdays. We're packing care packages for IDF soldiers. We are doing an intergenerational craft and then a sing-along with Hillel Lodge, which is the Seniors Long-Term Care Center. We are going to be creating no-sew blankets, so like fleece blankets that are knotted, and we're going to be giving those to the ALS Society and various seniors' homes throughout the city. We have a mural that's going to be painted. There's lots going on.
Do you know how many years the Federation has been putting on a Mitzvah Day?
I believe this is year 7. It hasn't been continuous. We relaunched it last year after a couple of years hiatus, but I believe this is year 7.
So it has grown quite a bit, hasn't it, from previous years?
Yes.
Where you're taking on more projects?
We're taking on more projects, and we're consciously going out and doing more off-site. We started doing off-site activities last year when we went to the Ottawa Mission to do sandwich making, and it was such a resounding success that we decided to build on that, work with other agencies throughout the community, and send volunteers in their direction.
What kind of feedback have you received in the past from the organizations that you've partnered with?
Oh, so hugely positive. I mean, just offhand, one of the activities that we're doing is we braid challahs that we freeze and then donate to the Kosher Food Bank. And I got some feedback from the woman who runs the Kosher Food Bank, who sent some testimonials in our direction of just how excited the recipients were to be able to have fresh challah for Shabbat, and just like how nice it was that they knew that kids were thinking of them. And it's just, for the birthday kits as well, we're getting amazing testimonials from the shelters of how much fun it is for the kids and their moms to make their birthday cakes together, and they get a real birthday.
I guess with the Sunday schools sending students, would you say the majority of the participants are children?
The majority of the participants on site are children, and certainly not exclusively. But with all of the activities that we're doing off-site, we're really trying to open it up and, you know, be more inclusive of all ages. We want to get as many people involved and participating as we can.
So how, if somebody wants to get involved, how do they do that?
Please visit our website at mitzvahdayottawa.com. We've streamlined everything this year. All of the information is on our website. You can register on the website. You can sign up to volunteer, which is to help run the activities. Information about all of the items that we're going to be collecting is on the website. It is all there.
All there, okay. There is a committee putting it together,
Absolutely.
correct? And do you want to talk about the committee and the chair of it?
Sure. So the event is being chaired by Randy Sherman this year, and she's really done a spectacular job of, you know, helping us to select what it is that we're going to do and what agencies that we're going to work with, and pulled together an amazing committee who's just been, you know, on the go for the last few months, pulling everything together. They've been amazing.
Okay. Okay, we're going to have to leave it at that. Thank you very much, Rena, and good luck.
Thank you
very
very
much. Good luck with
much.
Mitzvah Day this year. I'm sure it'll be a success like every other year.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching, everyone, and please stay tuned for next month when we'll be back. This is Shalom, Ottawa, and my name is Benita Simitiki. Bye-bye.
Ay, 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 in mir seinen freilich munter, oi, oi, freilich munter, singen Lieder, tanzen unter, oi, oi, oi. Und wir seinen alle Schwester, oi, oi, alle Schwester, also wie Ruchel, Russin, Esther, oi, oi, oi. Ay, 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 ay.